So I've been working on a couple different versions of my Starlink mini mounts. This is version 2. When I started working on this, I showed some prototypes early, which I typically don't do. I just, wanted to be able to get a little bit more feedback on what people thought and, to see if there was some different changes to make. And the one change I did do is I had this set up as black, which obviously from a visual standpoint is, very stealth, and it does look really cool. But the concern that some of the people had when they commented was just the fact that with it being black and covering the dish, that being in states that are very hot, the black would attract a lot more heat. So I decided to do version 2 in all white. That way it'll help reflect some of the sun and some of the heat. But as you can see, this version 2 is made from 1/4-inch HDPE, so it does completely cover the Starlink for protection. I did have a couple questions as whether or not this would work with the snow melt. And to be honest, I have no idea yet because I haven't been able to test it with snow. With it being HDPE, it most likely will still work some. But, obviously with most roof mounted versions of the Starlink mounts, most of them, if not some of them, will need to be cleared of snow just to make sure you have good signal, whether or not the snow melt's working or not. So with this one, like I said, I've got version 1, version 2. Version 1 is an all aluminum mount, and it does have the cutout for the Starlink Mini to show through, but it is all black. All of the mounting tabs and everything are black. As you can see, the mounting brackets are all made from 1/8-inch aluminum. My security tab is made from 1/8-inch aluminum, and those are all bolted on using stainless hardware. And with the little security tab, I made some 1/8-inch cable tethers so that you could just wrap around whatever bar system you're using, and then be able to lock it down with a little padlock, just to give a little bit more security from it. Anybody trying to quickly grab it, because then that way, if you wanted to put the mount down using like some thumb screws or something, you'd have the extra security of it being locked down, and just a little bit more peace of mind of someone not taking off with it quickly. The good thing with this though is with the tether, the way I designed it is that you can pop it off really quick. And if you wanted to take the mount off of the truck or off of your camper, then you can take it off really quick and take your tether with you to be able to lock it down to something else. Now, the way I designed it is the Starlink does still have the foot on the bottom, so it does still retain all of the ability to work the same way it would if it wasn't on the mount at all. So you can pop off the feet, it still stands perfectly fine, at an angle the way you would need it to. And in that way, if you are somewhere at camp or at a campground and you don't have the optimum signal with it mounted up on top of your vehicle, then you could take it off, set it out on grass, picnic table, whatever, and still retain the ability to be able to position it and stuff, just like if it were not on a mount at all. And these, like I said, this version 2 is all white. As you can see, all the brackets are powder coated white. So those are all the brackets, the security bracket tab, those are all 1/8-inch aluminum. So, and then 1/4-inch HDPE, that is CNC milled. And then that way it's all just a nice clean white look. Now it does stay very, very close to the roof mount or the roof crossbars. So it kind of gives it a good stealth ability, depending on where you're at or when you're driving, especially like with me, my truck, I've got pretty good height on it. So most people may not even know it's up here with the way it's mounted. So that's what I was kind of going for when I did this. Same with version 1, excuse me, that will be mounted the same way. But as you can see here, I've got the trail racks rack. So it works great with the trail racks rack. I also have the AluCab crossbars, which it works great with. One thing that some customers had asked, as far as still having the foot on it, is it going to work? And it still does work with the AluCab crossbars, even with the lowest feet that you can get. So what I have here with my solar mounted are the low feet. And without that solar panel there, if I were to mount it, it will still mount in between the crossbars and have about 1/4-inch or so clearance between the roof of the camper and the bottom of the mount. So it will work perfectly fine on top of the Alu cab with the crossbars. But again, it's designed to fit basically any kind of crossbars that you want to put it on. So it doesn't necessarily have to be trail racks or Alu cab. It could be just about anything. Front runners. The front runners that I have seen, a lot of them have very specific spaced crossbars. Not all of them are removable. So some of the racks it might not work with, but any kind of rack that you have that has adjustable crossbars, this should work with it just fine. Now, this one, like I said, it does have the protection with it being completely mounted underneath this HDPE. So, hail and storms and all that stuff, it should do great. But I have all of the version 2s that you see here in white. Those are all in stock and ready to ship. Version 1 is still in production, and as soon as I have those available, I'll put together another video and kind of show what those are looking like. But, again, the whole purpose of this was I wanted it to be kind of stealth. And I don't want people to be necessarily walking around saying, oh, well, there's another Starlink and, let's see what we can do. So, the whole point was just to make it as invisible as possible, but still be able to use it. The cool thing with this, too, is that with it being so flat, if you don't need the ability to use the Starlink while you're driving necessarily, you could mount bags and everything, other stuff over top of this while you're driving or traveling to camp or vacation, whatever you're doing. And, it's so flat, you can most likely mount stuff right over top of it, and it's not going to hurt it. That way, once you get to camp and you pull off the stuff, then you've got your Starlink ready to roll. So, like I said, these are in stock and ready to roll. 813fabrication.com. If you have any questions or comments on these, I'd love to hear it. As always, because I love hearing customer feedback, because anytime I see that stuff, and as you see it right now, that it's white, and that's exactly why, because customers had mentioned about being white and just reflecting the sun and the heat a little bit better. I may not have mentioned it yet. There is after doing some research, the Starlink Mini does have the thermal shutdown, which is around 122 degrees or something like that. So with the white, it'll help reflect some of that sunlight and UV rays, just to keep the heat down some more. So that way, just to make it as optimal as possible on this one. With the black version, being all aluminum, the aluminum top, it does have a cutout that will show, and you'll still be able to have the clearance of the Starlink. It just doesn't have the cover and protection of what this HDPE one is. So again, if you have any questions or comments on this, I'd love to hear it. But they're on the website and ready to roll. So just take a look, 813fabrication.com.